Hey, it's Clay Trader, and this will be a robotic trading quick lesson titled The Power of Volume. If you've watched some of these videos before, you know I've done the quick lessons, and in particular, I like the real-time examples. Nothing better than seeing something actually unfold in real time. It's one thing with textbooks and so forth. And don't get me wrong, I like textbooks and think they're worthwhile, but from their perspective, when you have the ability to go through thousands and thousands of charts to find an exact perfect example to fit whatever that is you're talking about. It still works, yes, but I think it does a real good job of when you can find something in real time that happens. That really does show that this stuff works and it's worth learning and putting into your tool belt when you go to trade. So if you haven't figured it out, we're going to be talking about volume. So real quick, just an overview. I first just want to offer proof that the example is real time. You see so much fishy stuff, shady stuff out there with these videos on YouTube or wherever, where it seems like they're just putting together these time frames or claiming this or claiming that, and there isn't really any proof. So I just want to point out that it is what it is right now, and that these events did unfold the way that I'm saying they did. Then I want to just quickly outline the strategy, go over the real-time example that took place this past week, and then issue a warning. Sure, the strategy will seem totally easy and kind of seem like a cakewalk, and it's not complicated, but at the same time, a warning still does need to be issued because you don't want to just go out there and start throwing your money to the wind if you don't truly know what to look for and what you're doing. So the strategy, volume. That's all I got to say. That's what the strategy revolves around. I'd say it's probably 75 to 80% of the strategy. There's a few other things which I won't be going over just because the time doesn't allow for it. I don't want this video to drag out too long. But the main thing and the core central issue of the strategy is volume. So that's the key thing that we're going to be focusing on. So the first thing, back to the proof. Today is Friday, the 27th of 2012, and what I'll do real quick is just refresh this so you can see this is an actual web page. So you see all this stuff over here changing. And still January 27th, except now it's 112. So today is today. Nothing fishy from that perspective. So to set up this real-time example, I have a newsletter, Bull Warrior Stocks, and every weekend we do what I call Warrior Charts, where I find 5 stocks and put them in 5 different categories. And one of the categories is volume alerts, and these are just plays that you see above average volume. So you can see right here, ATTD. This was announced this past weekend, last Saturday. And real quick, you can see this was for the week of January 23rd of 2012. And again, Wall Street Journal, you can see it's now January 27th. But for the people that are really, like to put things under the microscope, this could still not really be what it is. So just want to go here real quick to our Facebook page, and you can see right here the comment was made on January 21st to go and check your emails at 11:30 for the Warrior chart. So I was telling people to go check their emails for this exact email we're looking at here. So hopefully that's enough proof for people to see that this email actually went out over last weekend before these events happened that we're going to see. So we come down here and you can see right here ATTD was our volume alert play, and all I was basically saying was big volume here, and was wondering will these highs be retested, because with the sub penny stock the percentages add up very quickly. So that was it. Volume alert play, ATTD, this is what the chart looked like. And again, you can see right here, this email was announced prior on our Facebook page. So here is a chart. Hopefully that looks familiar. There's this here candle here. You can see the big volume. So let's just go through what happened during the week. On Monday morning, you can see right there, opened up at 0.0018. Not too much, but didn't fall apart or anything like that. And then this is where the good stuff happens right here. Check out this big move all the way up to 0.005. Now, what happened? What was the cause of this? Well, this volume here, that really that triggered something. For some reason, big volume came in. But now when we go back here, lo and behold, and again the date Tuesday right here, the company put out an announcement of something with Walgreens stores, and Walgreens, nice looking press release, and that's what I would attribute to this big move upwards. But you look back at the chart, And you got to wonder, did people know? And obviously, I have no inside information. I don't know. This is 100% speculation on my part. Did some people know on this day that this press release was going to be coming? Now, as an outsider like I was, I had no idea. I just saw the volume and a few other things, so I put it on our watch list. But did some people know? That's the question you have to wonder. And like I said, pure speculation, but perhaps some people knew that that press release was going to be coming on Tuesday or early in the week, so people were getting loaded up here on Friday just to see what would happen. But regardless, at the end of the day, who really cares? That's why volume's so powerful. It gave us a heads up warning that something could have been happening, and sure enough, on Tuesday that happens, and it shoots up to 005. But the story doesn't end there. The following day, look at that, all the way up to 0.0093. And this wasn't just a kind of a one-time opportunity to lock in profits. Their very next day, it went up there and hit that exact time again. So again, another time to have an opportunity to lock in profits. And then today, it's pulled back some. But from all the way down here, seeing this initial volume bar, and like I said, this is when it was alerted. Right here, just a little kind of consolidation day, news release day, and then a massive move here. So, and all that derived, like I said, 75%, 85%, 75 to 80% of the strategy is this simply volume. So volume bar, you see that, and that led us to an opportunity to make well over 400%. So let's just look at the chart a little bit more. Like I said, on the Monday it opened at 0.008 and actually dropped below there. So there was a possible opportunity to get shares even cheaper than 0.0018. But for simplicity's sake, I just said open of 0.0018, and then 2 days in a row, like I pointed out. So not just one opportunity, but another opportunity right here to get shares to get these shares sold when it hit a high of 0.0093, and from this up to 0.0093, profit window of 417%. Now I'm not sitting here saying a bunch of people made exactly 417%, because nobody plays anything perfectly, but a profit window when you have that much wiggle room, even if you just made 50%, 100%, 250%, or maybe just 300%. I mean, think about what we're saying. Let's just say you made 20% in basically 2 or 3 days. Where in the world can you get that sort of return on your money in 2 or 3 days? If you put your money in if there's a mutual fund out there that consistently put in 20% a year, people would be over it. But to think 20% in just a couple of days, let alone over 400%, it's really mind-boggling if you stop and put that perspective. Is where else in the world could you possibly make those sorts of returns? Now, obviously, the chart had a lot to do with this. I had no idea that news release was coming, but who really cares? Perfect example of the chart knows what's coming, and people knew, or something knew right down here, that news release was coming. That's why there was that surge in volume. And then you can see just the aftermath of that. So a great example of how the chart knows and how things are reflected in a chart. So it's just a good example of why you always want to be watching volume and keeping that on your radar. So over a 400% move based essentially just on one little volume bar like that. Now for the warning, and I've kind of been hinting at this, the strategy is not just a volume bar, so don't get the impression that I'm telling you to just go out there, find a chart where there's above average volume, and then just buy the next day. That's not what I'm saying. There's other things you need to look for, and that's where just understanding charts comes in. So like I said, if you do not understand charts, do not attempt to use this method, unless of course you enjoy losing money. So please don't go out there and just think that all there is to it is big volume bar, buy the next day. Yes, that's a big part of the strategy, like I said, but that's not the entire strategy. You really need to learn charts and understand charts in order to apply the strategy in its most efficient manner. So please keep that in mind. Again, do not go out there and grab your mortgage money or your kids' college tuition money and just find a chart with above average volume and then throw money at it. That's not what I'm saying, and that's not a smart way to go about things. Of course, I'm biased. But I would say go out and learn charts and things like that, and that'll give you a much better perspective and kind of foothold on how you can use these things to apply a simple strategy such as just using volume. And finally, if anybody is interested, I have a product out where you can go and has over 8 hours of information. So you can check it out here at this link, and also for the newsletter, which is free, and this is where ATTD was alerted on. That's just bullwarriorstocks.com. You can go there and sign up for the newsletter. It's free, no strings attached or anything like that. We cover everything from the penny stocks up to big board, so there's a good variety. But for anybody wondering, bullwarriorstocks.com is the newsletter where this example was featured. So, again, real-time example. Everything happened just, and I should say, just to end, that it's not like this happens every single time where you see volume and then some great press release comes out and you make 400%. I'd be lying if I said that's what happened every single time. But as followers of the newsletter can attest to, and anybody that's purchased this product, it can lead to gains. But I'm not going to sit here and say, buy this product and you're going to know how to find the 400% movers and know how to predict the future with press releases. That's not my intention. But it is a good strategy. It's worth figuring out. And charts just in general, you can learn so much and make your own, tailor your own strategies to your risk tolerances and things like that. So I'd encourage you to at least give it a try, read some of the testimonials on it, and just make up your mind from there. But again, hopefully you learned something, and hopefully you can see that volume and just charts in general really are powerful when you learn how to apply them properly. Thanks for listening.